and welcome to Tinkering with Edkelar. First off, I really wanted to have this project finished by now, both for the sake of making a complete video about it and for returning the device to its owner. But there were issues and some unrelated delays, and well, it is still a work in progress. Sorry. Now what do we have here? This is most of the inner workings of a tube radio, a Bella 4705W, made by the German Löwe Opta company in 1959 or 1960, based on my research. A friend from Germany asked me to take care of it as he had it around the house and wanted to have it in proper shape again. So, let's see how it looked when it arrived and just why the process takes so long. I can't really say how many friends and friends of friends did a relay run with it, but it did arrive in my workshop eventually. And boy was it in need of some TLC. My friend did also provide some spare parts he collected over time. The case is in bad shape. Quite a bit of the coating is flaking off. I think it might be shellac. It certainly is a thick, brittle layer. On the other side, literally, the front bezel is busted and missing a chunk. The rear cover looks pretty good from the outside, but there should be little latches on the inside that rotate to open the cover. One is missing, and so somebody decided to put in 4 random screws instead. I thought they were just poking through the cover first. The inside looks filthy, lots of cobwebs. The bottom cover plate is missing completely. The chassis is held in place by nothing. I'm sure there should be screws in here, but there aren't. And after a bit of wiggling around, I managed to extract the chassis from the case, with only minor damage. Clearly, the power cord has been modded at some time too. I'm sure that this one isn't factory. And neither is the grounding. These chassis usually are floating. Removing the tubes. Some have lost their markings already, and all are covered in dust and a sticky layer. Maybe nicotine? Removing the glass tuning dial next. It was glued in place, so a bit of paint came off. I'll put that aside for later to keep it safe. The tuning string is petrified, and the capacitor is stuck. That's why the indicator wouldn't move. Carefully removing the tuning indicator, these plastics are brittle. The speaker needs to come out for a good dusting. Also, I'd really like to check the membrane, but the screws have other ideas. They turn inside the wood, and so I can't get the nuts off, which have been glued in place. The bezel is held in place from the inside with 4 screws. I keep wondering what these weird little pinholes in the bezel are. Later I discovered that there should be a company logo attached to it. Not sure if I can remake that. Time to bring out the shop vac. I use a brush to loosen up the caked on dust. Cutting out the old capacitors. Paper and wax. Sheesh. Some are in really bad shape. So much so that the foil is actually showing. I am trying to keep as much of it together as possible, but to get to some of the broken capacitors, I need to remove a few bits and pieces here and there. Next, making a list of capacitors. Lots of paper ones and a few electrolytics that are certainly no good anymore. Once they leak their juice, there's no reforming. The output transformer doubles as a DC supply choke. The rectifier is a selenium one, and when looking at the state of the device, this needs to go. The scale illumination lamp is held in place with a grommet that looks and feels more like window putty by now. Since the tuning capacitor is stuck, I remove it for cleaning. Needs a bit of desoldering. And to get better access to the switches, I thought I'd remove the buttons. Turns out that the switches still are hardly accessible anyway, but at least I can now lubricate the button mechanism. tried to get rid of the glue on the speaker screws, but they still would turn with the nut. The speaker cover fabric is also in a really bad condition. So, up next, removing the old cover fabric. I wanted to try to clean it with carpet cleaner, as that worked for me before, but certainly not with the speaker on the inside. So off it goes. A quick and very gentle dusting later, the speaker looks perfectly fine. I read somewhere that WD-40 would make a good cleaning agent for these chassis, so I'll give it a try here. The potentiometers are riveted shut. Dremel time! The inner axle has a ferrule-like sleeve stuck to it, so it won't come out. Again, nothing the Dremel can't fix. Now let's start to fix things. I'll start with the busted corner of the bezel. And while that dries, I give the components a good clean. The first batch is dry. Now to the art part. Sanding it back until it matches the other corner and the existing profile. And here we go again. A fresh layer of paint makes parts shine again. Preparing the case for some paint. The front face is easy. The glaze, whatever it might be, scrapes off quite easily. But the sides took some serious effort to get going. Heat helped, but the range between softening and burning is narrow. Just for the fun of it, checking the main filter cap, but as expected, it's only an almost capacitor at this time. Checking the tubes, they all seem to work. And I think this is as good a time as any to make a break for part 2. The project is a bit further along already, but I can't yet tell if there might be a part 3. I hope you enjoyed this episode. See you next time! Quite a bit of the coating is flaking off.